Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys had a great weekend. But in this video today, we'll be covering domain and range. In this video, I plan to just talk about these concepts loosely, and just covering some classifications before we start defining the bigger picture of functions. Defining the domain and range of functions after we graph them, or and their end behavior is one of the biggest things in mathematics. So we'll be added onto this the further we go. Before we hop into the meat in the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and also comment down below any topics you guys want me to cover. I'll look into it, and also follow the channel on Instagram. I'll leave the name of the name down below. But let's hop right into it, guys. So we defined, actually let's move this. So we defined a domain as, so previously we defined the domain as the input values of a function. Sorry for my horrible writing, but we defined the domain as input of a function. So essentially what this means is, if you guys remember, for every x, we get an f of x. So this x will be our domain. Okay? So then we also have a codomain. Alright, not that big of a, it's really not that big of a deal. Actually it is a big deal, but it's not really heavily covered until you take linear algebra and higher level maths, and also programming courses. Let me zoom out the camera just a little bit. Oops, a little bit too much. Sorry, guys. Codomain. So what the codomain is, it is the list of all possible. It is a list of all possible outputs. Okay. So for every x, we have an f of x. All right. So, or of all possible / potential. Okay. Pretty much any potential f of x we get is in the codomain. Okay. So, and then that leads us to the range, because the range is the absolute. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oops. There we go. And we define the range. Pretty much it's all of the output values in a function. Okay. Alright, we need to back it up, move the camera up a little bit so you guys can see that. So the range is all the output of a function. So for every x, so every f of x that we see on the graph is what do you call it? The range. All right, so range, so typically we use interval notation, brackets or parentheses, which I'll cover in a future video, in an upcoming video. It's actually coming up real soon. Once we start classifying domains and ranges of other functions. But pretty much, typically it's in these interval notations, and what it means is we include this. Not include. You can also write it as set braces, meaning we like we saw with equations, meaning we only consider these values. or the empty set, which means we don't have, which means the solution, the set braces are empty. If there isn't anything in the set braces, so we don't consider anything. We also consider inequalities as interval notation. So we have greater than, less than or equal to, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Those are all telling us for what we include and what we don't include. Also, the range. Just one more thing for the range before we continue. The range also talks about it's the lowest point to highest point. Of a function. All right. So meaning, like if we're given this curve, okay, the domain will be all right, on the x-axis. The domain is on the x-axis. Sorry, move this over a little bit, guys. On the x-axis, pretty much the domain is every x value here. So A, B, C, D. Whereas the range is the highest point to lowest points. So this would be the highest point. All right, so f of A. So we consider the y-axis for the range, and the highest y value is the range. The highest y values. Okay. One last thing before we end off the video. So when finding domain, there's some things we gotta be careful of. All right. So 3 questions you guys gotta ask when finding domain. One. So pretty much, is there anything undefined? 2. So pretty much, sorry, not 2. I'm tripping. Pretty much, is there anything in this function that'll make it undefined? So, like for example, if we take a natural log of a negative number, it's undefined. If we get 1 over 0, it's undefined. Arcsine of 2 is undefined. So, just to recap the video today, sorry guys, short one today. I just kind of ran out of material, or I didn't run out of material, just more the fact that my scripts aren't completely finished. Just need a couple more examples for the rest of the chapter, then we'll move on. So pretty much we define the domain as the input values for all the input values for a function, and pretty much when we're finding domain, we ask, is there anything undefined? And pretty much, is there anything that if we plug in to the function that will give us an asymptote or gives us a function that we can't evaluate, or gives us a value that we can't evaluate. The codomain is pretty much the list of all potential output values, and we define the range as all of the output values in a function. Typically, the lowest point to the highest point in a function, as you guys see in that graph. I'll see you guys next video. I hope this helped out.